All right, let's jump right in. We're going to look at this really fascinating story from the Bible, where Jesus introduces a totally revolutionary idea about what worship even is. And get this, he reveals it to probably the last person on earth you would ever expect.
So here's something that might surprise you. In all of the scriptures, in the entire Bible, Jesus only says the words, "I am the Messiah," out loud, explicitly, just one time. One.
You've got to ask, right? Out of everyone, his closest disciples, the powerful religious leaders, the huge crowds that followed him everywhere, who was the one person he decided to tell? Well, the answer is going to blow you away. It's not who you think.
And that brings us to the heart of the matter, because the identity of this person, well, it turns out to be the key to understanding the entire message he's trying to give.
So here's the kicker. The one person Jesus makes this crystal clear claim to is a complete social outcast. I mean, on every level. She's a Samaritan, and the Jews despise Samaritans. She's a woman, and in that time and place, that meant she had basically no social or legal power. And on top of all that, she's an outcast even in her own town, totally shamed for her messy personal life. So the big mystery we're unpacking is, why her? Okay, so picture the scene. They're at a well. Jesus has just shown her that he knows everything about her past, and her reaction is, well, it's fascinating. She immediately tries to change the subject. You see what she did there? Instead of dealing with her own life, she deflects. She pulls out this centuries-old religious debate. It's like the ultimate pivot. She's basically saying, oh, you're a prophet? Great. Then settle this argument for us. Where's the right place to worship God, huh? And you have to understand, this wasn't some small disagreement. This was a deep, bitter feud. The Samaritans said the holy spot of Mount Gerizim, and they only followed the first 5 books of the Bible. The Jews, on the other hand, insisted it was the temple in Jerusalem, and they had the full Old Testament. This was a huge deal, a fight over geography, theology, the whole shebang. But here's where it gets so good. Jesus doesn't bite. He doesn't pick a side. Instead, he uses her question to flip the entire concept of worship on its head. He doesn't get mad at her for trying to change the subject. He actually goes there with her. He leans into her question about place because he's about to reveal something infinitely more important. He meets her right where she is. And boom, there it is. That's the bombshell. He basically tells her that both of their holy places, the absolute centers of their religious universes, are about to become irrelevant. He's saying the whole debate about where we worship is the wrong question entirely. And right here, everything shifts. First, he takes the conversation from where, a mountain or a city, to who. It's not about the place, it's about the Father. Second, he takes it from ancestry to something universal. Notice he doesn't say our fathers. He says the Father, which just blows the doors wide open. Worship is no longer tied to one tribe or one people. Now, he does gently correct her. He says, in essence, you Samaritans worship, but you don't have the full picture because your scriptures are incomplete. When he says salvation is from the Jews, he's pointing out that their scriptures had the complete story, the full roadmap that pointed to the coming Messiah. So now that he's taken apart the old way of thinking, Jesus is ready to build up the new way. And this gets us to the absolute core of what he's teaching here. Worship, completely redefined. And there it is. The new worship isn't about a place at all. It's about 2 things, spirit and truth. So what does that actually mean? Okay, so in spirit. This means worship is now an internal thing. It's about what's going on inside your heart, your mind, your very being. The incredible thing about that, if worship happens in your heart, well, you can take your heart anywhere, right? The new place of worship is portable. It's inside you. But it's not just about having sincere, warm, fuzzy feelings. It also has to be in truth. That means your worship has to be aimed at the right thing, based on a real, accurate understanding of who God actually is. You can't just worship some vague idea of God. And this leads right to the climax of the whole conversation. The woman, probably trying to process all this, grasps onto the one hope she has. She says, I know the Messiah is coming someday, and when he gets here, he'll make sense of all this. He will tell us the truth. And that's when he says it. The one line he says so plainly just this one time. He looks at her, and says, "I who speak to you am he." The truth she's been looking for is sitting right in front of her. So now finally, we can circle all the way back to our original question. We can connect all the dots. Why her? Of all the people in the world, why did Jesus choose this woman in this moment to reveal his true identity? Let's go back to the scene for one last clue. The Bible makes a point of telling us what time it was. It was noon. Now, this was really weird. Women always went to the well in the cool of the morning to get water, not in the scorching midday heat. And that detail is there for a reason. It forces us to ask, why on earth would she come at the absolute worst, most difficult time of day to do this chore? The heartbreaking answer is, she came at noon so she wouldn't have to see anyone else. She came to be alone, to avoid the judgmental stares and the whispers from the other women. For her, that well wasn't a place of community. It was her daily pilgrimage to a place of isolation and deep, personal shame.
And that is the whole point of the story. Jesus didn't meet her at a holy mountain or in a magnificent temple. He met her at her place of shame. He went right to the source of her pain to reveal the most beautiful truth, that this new way of worship, this worship in spirit and in truth, is made specifically for the people who feel the most disqualified.
So we're left with this final thought to chew on. If the true place of worship is no longer a building, but the human heart, what does it tell us that this massive revelation wasn't given in a place of glory, but at a lonely well? It might just mean that the path to truly worshiping God doesn't start by getting our act together and climbing some holy mountain, but by letting Him meet us exactly where we are, especially in the places where we feel the most ashamed.